What in the world were we thinking? This trip is going to be a whirlwind.
It's epic. I had no idea that it was going to be like this when we first got started planning it, and then it just blew up into this, coast to coast to coast trip.
It is ginormous, and it's going to be awesome.
It's going to definitely be awesome. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
Today we're going to talk about the Great American RV Loop from east to west and back again. If you guys could do us a solid and hit that subscribe button, there's a QR code right here you could scan. It'll take you straight to our page and you can subscribe right there. It's free, so why wouldn't you do it? Also, if you would smash the like button and hit that notification bell, that way you are notified every single Thursday when a new video comes out. We appreciate you guys so much. We definitely couldn't do this without any of your support. Let's get into this trip. All right, so we're going to start with the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how of this big trip. And where are we going? Stay tuned. At the end, we'll reveal our map and let you know exactly where we're headed this year. So who's going?
So this year, just like last year, the Clevelands are going out with us on the first leg of the journey. So they've got a couple places they're going to go, and we're going to split off at the end. Which we'll show you when we give you guys the details of the trip we got coming up.
What is happening? We are doing a coast to coast to coast trip. We're starting in Florida, we're heading up to California, and then we're going to wind up back in Maryland before we start the fall leg of this journey. All right, so when is this trip happening?
We're leaving the first week in April. We're rolling out from St. Augustine and headed west.
Yep, till we hit California, and then we're going to go up a bunch of other places. And then we will finish in Maryland, like I said, before we hit the road again for our fall trip, which we're still tweaking a little bit. So where are we going? So we're going to hit a lot of places. I'll give you some stats in a second. We wanted to try to stay in some pretty important places a little bit longer. We do have a couple of 1 or 2 night stays at a few places, but places that were important for us to kind of hang out and linger a little bit longer, we're going to do 5, 6, 7 days in those locations.
Yeah, so we started out planning things at a week at a time, and then we backed off accordingly for travel schedules naturally, but our optimal time to stay anywhere is going to be from 5 to 7 days.
So why are we doing this trip? Well, we wanted to hit a bunch of national parks.
And some of these are bucket list items for both of us.
100%. We'll get into a little bit later what places each of us are most excited about. We also started planning this trip almost a year ago. And we did that because a lot of these campgrounds in and nearby national parks fill up a year in advance sometimes. And we wanted to make sure that we got in and got as close to the national parks as we could, because you guys know we have Lily and we can't leave her for, the whole day. The cats, they're easy. If you leave them some food, some water, they're fine.
They're happy, yeah.
Yeah, they're fine. Lily, we can't leave her for we try to go no more than 4 or 5 hours. She could do a little bit longer stretch, but we try not to leave her for a whole lot longer than that. So we want to stay as close to those important national parks as we possibly can.
And again, out of necessity, because they book up so quickly, we wanted to go ahead and start booking these things as, early out as. Once we started planning the trip, we immediately started booking stuff.
The other thing, the goal of this trip was also to see how many different states could we hit, how many different national parks could we hit, how many different locations could we hit, things that we've been dying to do since we went full-time RVing a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it's not like we're trying to knock everything off the list at one time, but we had some travel plans that we wanted, and we had, a beginning in Florida and an ending in Maryland, and we just wanted to see, knowing how much time we had, how far could we make it and back inside of the parameters that we set for our travel plans.
Plus, we have Rob and Mary Lou with us, and they have kind of a deadline. They were, at the time, they had a family vacation that was planned, and they had to be a certain place at a certain time. So we kind of worked around that. Next, let's get into the how we planned this, how we decided upon places. We did a travel planning video, a couple months ago, so I'll put a link in the description below to that. But basically what we did is we made a bucket list of all these different places that we wanted to visit. So places like Utah, Wyoming, California, Arizona,
the Dakotas.
The Dakotas. And then from there, we went deeper and figured out which areas specifically we wanted to go see. And then between the four of us, we got together using RV Trip Wizard. We looked at different campgrounds. And you guys know we do a lot of research in these campgrounds. We look to see pictures. We look at specific sites. We look at the ratings. We look to see how much it costs to stay there every single night. And then we hit YouTube and we look for campground reviews or people that have stayed there and can share their experiences, so we could say, this is a really cool place, we really want to stay there, or nah, that's really not up our alley and that's really not what we want to do.
And we also use Google Earth so we can do, snapshots of the campground. We always look out for Lily, try to get ourselves with a little bit of green space, because she loves to have a little bit of area to sit and walk around and lay out in the sun and do her business in. So Google Earth is very helpful when it comes to that, because it gives you an eagle-eyed view of the campsite, and depending on where Rob and Mary Lou may want to stay versus where we want to stay, or can we get close together. But the main thing for us is to make sure that we've got decent space for Lily so she can spread out a little bit.
Yep. And in fact, we were using Google Earth. We were going to stay at a campground. We hadn't booked it yet. We were going to stay at a campground in Missouri. And when we all got back together, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, we looked at it. We're like, why did we decide we wanted to stay here?
What were we thinking?
Yeah. And so then we decided maybe sometimes we just put placeholders in. And so now when I'm starting to with RV Trip Wizard, if it's not something that we have completely vetted and it's just a placeholder, next to the campground name, I'm putting placeholder. That way we know we haven't really delved in to see, is this really a campground that we want to stay at? And we wound up founding a Kansas state park. We moved from Missouri to Kansas, and we found a Kansas state park that is absolutely stunning, and it's probably one of the places I'm most looking forward to staying for a few days.
Because we spend a lot of time doing this, and going back to the placeholder, sometimes we're in an area and we get turned around and we feel like we exhausted all of our opportunities. We'll decide, use this as a placeholder and let's move on. A classic example is that when we were looking for a place in Kentucky, we were dumbfounded we couldn't find a place to stay in Kentucky that sparked our interest. And we don't pick a place just so we can say we got somewhere to stay. So we kind of picked a placeholder, and then we got back there and we're like, yeah, it don't look like we're going to Kentucky this year, because we just couldn't find anything at the time, that drew our interest that we really wanted to do. So
the other thing is, remember we were talking, and California wasn't even on our list, because we all know how expensive California is for fuel. It's a little bit, few extra steps you have to take to get into California. There's things you can't bring into the state. So we were looking at it, and then somebody said to you, or said to Rob, Mary Lou, and said, you realize from this place in Arizona, you're only a few hours to California.
Right.
And Mike said, let's go to California. And then we started looking, and we found some places that we wanted to see that were in California. So we're just dipping in there, then we're headed back out.
So along with all that being said, we spend a lot of late nights. Once we get going, it's kind of hard to turn it off. You get excited about what you're doing, where you're going, and then you just kind of keep on going. Next thing you're like, oh my word, it's 11:30. We've been at this for 6 hours. So, but let's get to some of these stats on some of the places we're going and how long we're going to be staying.
We are going to be visiting 22 states.
22.
That's from April 1st until the middle of July. So we're going to be covering a lot of ground. Having said that, how many miles are we doing?
We have over 7,200 miles, which means a couple of things logistically. The rig's going to be due for 2 oil changes while we're on the road. So we're going to have to figure all that out as we go, and we will. We have in the past. A lot of people get concerned about taking these trips and where you're going and how you're going to get this done and how you're going to get that done. And, so there's a few things logistically that we have to take care of, but we've always been able to pull it off. I mean, hopefully you guys saw the video when we were caught in a rainstorm with a broken windshield wiper, on the road, and we were able to get off, get it taken care of, and get back on the road. So next is,
we have over about 108 nights on the road. So it's a little over 3 months, about 3.5 months that we're going to be on the road to do 7,200 miles in over 22 states. Here's the number of types of parks and places that we're staying.
So we have 1 city park that we're staying in, 1 county park that we're staying in, 7 state parks, which is really exciting to me.
We'll be staying at 6 campgrounds that are through recreation.gov.
1 BLM land, which I'm very excited about, and I can't wait till we get you guys the list of where we're going, because I'm very excited for this one.
So this will be our first BLM camping experience as well. It's going to be 3 nights, off-grid, should be pretty exciting. We're going to be visiting 9 national parks, which is pretty epic. I will be filling lots of stickers up on my water bottle. So let's talk a little bit about where actually we're going now. Okay, so we're leaving from the St. Augustine area. You guys can see we are at our home away from home for the winter months. This is beautiful Four Lakes Campground in Hastings, Florida.
And we picked the worst time of all to do this because nobody was doing any work when we came out here, and all of a sudden the guys raking the beach, the guys are showing up with the weed eaters and the lawnmowers, and we're having to stop and start.
So we have a few. We're headed out west. We're headed to California. We're headed up into some national parks out west. So let me tell you a few major stops that we're going to have along the route. First one in Texas. So we're going to 3 state parks. 2 we've been to before, and you've seen those videos. You've seen Copper Breaks, and you've seen Palo Duro. We're also going to head to Cap Rock. So we're really excited to head to Cap Rock Canyon. I'm going to make some friends with some prairie dogs there. They're going to be my besties. So those are 3 state parks in Texas that we're going to be headed to. Really, really excited about that.
And then next we're headed out to the Grand Canyon, which is one of my bucket list places, and I've purposely not gone there because I wanted to wait until we got into a situation where we could spend quite a bit of time there like we're going to be doing.
Okay, so our dip into California is going to be to go to Joshua Tree National Park and the whole 29 Palms, Coachella area. Pretty excited. I think we're only there for a few nights, maybe I think 4 nights.
4 nights, yeah.
Yeah, so, but it'll be enough for us to be able to see some pretty cool sights and to be able to hopefully just get a little quick taste of California.
Next is Zion Park area. We're staying in Hurricane, Utah. Why is it named Hurricane? That's a little frightening.
I don't think there's any hurricanes that go
sure?
out there. I think we're good.
Did you do any research?
I think we're good.
All right.
We're pretty excited for Zion. It was one of those places that was along the route, and then Mike saw the map and he said, "You realize Zion's right there?" And I was like, okay. So we're staying at a state park there that we're pretty excited about. So next we're going to be headed to the Moab area where we're going to hit Arches and Canyonlands. And that is a bucket list for our friend Mary Lou as well as for me. We are super excited for Moab. We've actually had to cut Moab short by 1 day because of some routing issues with RV Trip Wizard for the rest of our trip, but we can get it done in 5 nights, not a big deal. We are actually planning, and we need to book, we're going to do one of those Hummer tours, but I think we're going to opt to do this sunset tour that kind of takes you out and you get to see the sun setting down over the Arches National Park.
Next is Yellowstone, which is another bucket list item for both of us. So can't wait to get out there and see some of these places. Grand Tetons. I think at the Grand Tetons, we're actually staying at a park on a lake, Lake Jefferson.
Yep. I don't remember the name of the lake.
But anyway, supposedly it's a quick walk down a path from the campground to the lake, which is at the base of the mountains. And just the pictures I've seen, I'm sure don't do it justice. And I can't wait to grab a camp chair, walk over there with a cup of coffee, and sit and watch the sun come up.
After that, we're going to be headed to the Dakotas. We're headed to the Mount Rushmore area, Teddy Roosevelt. Really excited to see that. We do also have a Zach Brown Zamley member. Zamley is the fan club for Zach Brown. So our friend Joyce lives out in South Dakota, so we're excited. We're finally get to meet her. We've been friends on Facebook for years and through Zamley, so we're pretty excited to see her. So we're going to do a lot of exploring in the whole South Dakota area because from there we get to go to Mike's bucket list BLM place.
The Badlands.
We'll be camping in Wall, South Dakota, and some BLM land that overlooks the Badlands. And
100% off the grid.
He's super excited. So fingers crossed, not super windy, and fingers crossed the weather's really nice.
So next we're headed to eastern South Dakota and then down to Nebraska and Kansas.
Yep. And then that's where we're going to actually split. After Kansas, we're splitting from the Clevelands, and they're going to go their way, and we're going our way, where we're headed back to Red Bay for more work done, some maintenance done to our RV and some repairs. I will link both of our Red Bay videos below in the description so you can see the work that we had done. We're going to be visiting Precision. We're going to be visiting MSRV Solutions. We're going to be visiting Bay Diesel. That's actually where one of our oil changes and our generator work is going to be done to our rig while we're down there.
It's just all regular maintenance and scheduled service work.
And then after that, we're going to make a trip back home to Maryland for the rest of the summer to hang out with some of our grandchicks and some of our kids and our family and friends and have a little downtime.
And eat some of those Maryland steamed crabs.
Oh, you know that's happening. After that, we're going to hook back up with the Clevelands for our fall camping trip. That is still kind of in the works, but we're thinking it's going to be something like Virginia, maybe a dip into Tennessee, definitely Alabama, and then we're headed back to St. Andrews State Park in Florida for 2 weeks of fun in the sun at the beach. And then we'll be back here at Four Lakes Campground for like 4 months starting in December.
So our fall trip is pretty cool, though. We usually have 6 or 8 other campers that come out with us. We all meet out in the Shenandoah Valley. For them, it is a end of the year camping trip. For us, it's kick off to our big fall season and headed back down to Florida for some fun in the sun.
Which fall, I think, is my absolute favorite time of year to camp because it's crisp in the morning, it's crisp at night. You have warmer days. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's perfect camping weather. So that's our trip in a nutshell. What do you guys think about this trip? Is this a bucket list trip for you guys too? Have you been to any of these places? Do you have any suggestions for us? Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. We would really appreciate any input that you had. If you guys are in the area we're in or you see us at a campground, stop on by and say hi. We would love to meet you guys. Until next time, we'll see you at the next stop. Bye.
So what are you looking most forward to?
Probably staying out at the Rim in the Badlands. Wasn't even on my radar until I saw the area on a couple of YouTube channels. I was like, that's a must-do. That's getting bumped up on the list. So
Yeah, for sure.
looking very forward to that.
I think I'm most looking forward to Moab and the Tetons. I'm just looking forward to
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm looking forward to the mountains and just the different area of Moab.
Past the point of no return, baby, on the summer night. A shot of love and a spark of love to breathe. Stars align and the month.
We are so glad you guys are with us for this awesome video. That was stupid. That was idiotic. Why don't you do that again? I'm just going to shut up.
My part was fine.
Yours was great.
I did a fabulous job, and you it all up. Talk a little bit about the Great American RV Loop to the west. Today we're going to talk about. Hold on.
I'll do that part.
All right, you do that part.
Mash the like button and hit that notification bell. That would be great if Mike turned off his phone.
Yeah. So we've got quite a bit of. Well, you're going to get into the where.
Hold on. We do a really good job of picking good days to record when they're like cutting the grass. That's from July 1st through probably like the middle of July.
Oh.
Sorry. Jesus. Okay.
But we'll still be on the road at that point, so
We pick really good days to do this, don't we?
It's all good.
We're off the hook. Yep. So we'll be. And if you guys are out on the road the same time we are, and you see us somewhere, come on, say bye.
Until next time.
See you at the next stop.